Today is my last day in Valparaiso, and I'm heading to Buenos Aires tomorrow. Buenos Aires actually wasn't in my initial travel plan, but I decided that I can fit it in because I have still 5 more days before going to Mendoza. And while I think I could have spent all of that time here in Valparaiso, I was really kind of bummed about not being able to go to Buenos Aires. So when I realized I could fit it in, I am taking that opportunity. So I'm off tomorrow, but I did want to talk a bit about Valparaiso because this city is seriously amazing, and I have enjoyed my time so much here. I've been here for about a week, and yeah, exactly 1 week, and every day has been wonderful. The city itself is, how to describe it, like super, so there's graffiti and street art everywhere, so it's like a very artistic city, but also like very, like a little bit on the grungy side, really dirty, and some of the artwork can also just turn into straight up like graffiti and vandalism. What's really interesting, the graffiti also has a ton of, I would say, like political messages to it. So a lot of it's about like resistance or like keeping the earth healthy, or like, I don't know, a lot of like things like messages that are like really powerful like that. So it's been wonderful to just kind of get lost and wander around the city. It's really hilly, so you kind of are doing a lot of up and down walking, but to just kind of explore all of the different art and read everything. And there's a lot of like workshops and art galleries around, so a ton of like stores to pop into and look at everything. And it's kind of a relief because most of the cities will have just the exact same tourist stuff like everywhere. Like there's like a bag that says Ecuador in like, you know, every single store in Quito or something in terms of like souvenirs. But here I feel like it's way less. Like you still get a bit of that, but it's much more actual like artwork and people creating things, as opposed to just like the cliche tourist knickknacks, which I've really enjoyed, actually just going around and like looking at those things. And I feel like every day there's been live music somewhere or bands playing, so many like coffee shops. I mean, this place is like hipster to the utmost, but for me, I kind of really enjoy that. So I feel like this is like the perfect vibe for me. I've also, like, the hostel is really great. Not so much the showers. Those have been like real rough because it's really cold water, or you get like spurts of hot water, but then it's mostly cold. And anyway, the bathroom's like a whole other thing, but the hostel itself, I feel like has a very communal aspect to it, where they have this really nice patio and people kind of gather there in the evenings to hang out, and people will just bring bottles of wine and start drinking them and getting to know each other. So I've befriended 2 girls, Shannon from the UK and Karina from Germany. Shannon already actually left just a couple days ago, but Karina's still here. We're on the same timeline, so it's been really great hanging out with them. And Shannon and I, on one of the first days, went sandboarding at one of the hills near this like giant sand dune nearby. So I'll show you a clip of that. So the sandboarding was a lot of fun. I definitely was covered in head to toe sand after that, and I think that I'm probably going to end up bringing some sand home with me because it just will not come out of my shoes. And then the next day I went hiking at this mountain that's about an hour and a half away called La Campana, and it was an exhausting 8-hour hike. So freaking just really, really long. But the views at the top were well worth it, where you can see all the way to the Pacific Ocean on one side, and then to the like mountain range, I believe the Andes on the other side, which is actually the full length of Chile because Chile's so skinny and narrow. So that was really cool. It took a lot of time up at the top, just like taking it all in, but then coming down, it was just grueling, like sand slipping for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Is so long. So definitely a long hike, but really cool nature. And also, since we're in the southern hemisphere now, summer's actually coming to an end and fall is starting, so I was able to see some of the trees changing colors, which was really pretty as well. Okay, so another thing that I did was on Wednesday we went to Viña del Mar, which is a city next to Valparaiso, and it's more of like the nicer area, and it has this really nice beach, a little bit more, just like a city beach per se, but Karina, Shannon, and I went to that for the day, and it was nice because we went to like a grocery store and bought like cans of sangria, and then picnic like cheese and crackers and spread and cookies, and we used one of the sheets from the beds here in the dorms to lay out as like a picnic blanket, and spent the whole afternoon on the beach just chatting and drinking and listening to the waves. We fell asleep for a bit. I burnt the back of my legs really bad, but it was like a really relaxing day to kind of just have as a chill day. I think that's one of the things that I really liked about being in Valparaiso for so long, for over a whole week, is not feeling rushed to do everything in such a short amount of time, where I was able to just take a day to go to the beach, which was really relaxing and nice. And there's been other days that I've wandered around all day. I took a really long and in-depth walking tour one day. I've seen a lot of live music. So there's this place. So the traditional music here is called cueca. And so I'll show you a couple clips from a couple different bars that we went to. And then lastly, I also wanted to talk about the food. That Chile's food is amazing. It's super, super tasty. So I have been eating a ton of empanadas, which are, they usually have like cheese and meat in them, but there also are vegetarian types. I had a really good potato and cheese and peanut one today, so they can get kind of interesting. But I've been eating a ton of empanadas because they're really cheap and just kind of on the streets everywhere. And then also ceviche, because we're a port town here, and fishing is, I think, one of the primary industries, is that fresh seafood is everywhere, and it's super cheap and it's so tasty. So one of the things we did yesterday is Karina and I walked to the port area called Caleta, and they have like a fish market there, and so it's like the freshest seafood possible, and that's super good. So I've been eating just a ton of ceviche and empanadas and pastel de choclo, which is like kind of like chicken pot pie, but with more of like a mushy corn base to it. So that one's been really good also. And lots of like, the bread here is more of like a dense roll type thing, so I've been eating a lot of that also. And oh my gosh, I'm forgetting, oh, here, this thing, I'll show you. And I forget the name of it. I keep on forgetting the name of it. Pomelo? No. Pimia? I forget. I've been told the name of this fruit so many times and I keep on forgetting. But, where is it? So it's here. So, it looks like a tomato, and it feels like a tomato on the outside, but it's obviously yellow with like this like purple texture to it. But it tastes kind of just like a honeydew melon, which is interesting. Super tasty though, so I picked one of these up from the fruit market. I've been enjoying that. So yeah, Valparaiso has been quite a lot, offered so many things each day. Again, I really enjoyed the vibe of this city. It's super creative and open, and I feel like anybody can be anything they want. So there's just like super funky, you know, clothing and designs, and the people are so, I think, joyful, and the city just feels like a very engaging, creative, artsy, and free-thinking place where people aren't afraid to speak their mind and are really passionate. I've loved, like I said, all of the music and the food. It's been wonderful. I think I came into this with very little expectations of Chile, but they, you know, I was not disappointed at all. I've really enjoyed the week here. So with that, I'm on to Buenos Aires, Argentina next. Bye.